Hey guys, it's Doc and it's TV time again. So this weekend I watched the first two episodes of Spider-Noir in authentic black and white from Amazon Prime and Sony. And you get to see Nicolas Cage, who has previously voiced the character in Across the Spider-Verse. You get to see him now bring this character to life. And all I can say is he absolutely chews the fat with this particular character. You're set back in the 1930s during the Depression. This character is named Ben Riley rather than Peter Parker, but we might find out later on that Ben Riley is just an alias and it could truly be his name is Peter Parker. But this is an older Spider, okay? In the 1920s, he had fought against corruption and been the hero, the Spider, for New York City. And now he's retired because just like Peter Parker, he lost his love. He lost her. And in losing her, he lost his thirst for adventure. He lost his thirst for going out there and being a hero, saving everybody. Now he's just Ben Riley, a private investigator. But what's really cool about this series is you get to see all of these characters that you know and love from the Spider-Man mythos. You get to see all of these characters pop up at one point or another. And so in these first two episodes, you get to see Ben Riley, Robbie Robertson, Kat/Felicia Hardy. Janet is actually Ben's secretary. You get to see Brendan Gleeson as Silvermane, Flint Marko, Lonnie Lincoln, who we all better know as Tombstone. And then you get to see Winston, who is Silvermane's right-hand guy, and Dirk Layden, who I'm not really sure who that's going to be just yet. But you've also, you've seen, like I said, you've seen Flint Marko, but it opens on the first episode with a story about Ben and another private eye named Donegal chasing down a guy named Addison. And somehow Addison has these superpowers. He's pyrotechnic. And you come to find out that somebody hired Addison to go blow up Silvermane's house and try to kill Silvermane in the process. And Ben is on the case, but he ends up finding out that Winston, who is Silvermane's second in command and his enforcer, has been the one that hired him. So Ben backs off because he says, I'm not going to try to intimidate and force money from the hand of Silvermane. Donegal does no such thing and pays for it with his life. And the really neat thing is I've always lived here, and I've never really seen New York City currently, much less in the 1920s and the 1930s. But if you watch the first two, and I'm actually on to the third episode now, but if you watch the first two episodes, you get that hard-boiled feeling of what it must have been like to live in New York City back during this time. You get to see exactly how much fun, yet how much crime, and you have the Hooverville towns that are set up. You have all of these things that are pulled from reality, from when New York City was both at the top and now at the bottom. It's not a detective story like Batman would be, but getting to see Spider-Man as a private investigator adds to the mystery. Okay, it's kind of like, although he didn't have true superpowers, it's kind of like the Sandman stuff, the Golden Age Sandman stuff, where you've got Wesley Dodds, who is, wealthy like Batman, although Ben Riley is most definitely not. But you get to see Wesley Dodds go out here and fight crime as the Sandman in a very affluent culture, while at the same time, there are dregs of society that are trying to steal, kill, and destroy everything that has been built up over the previous, 60 or 70 years. The point is that I'm trying to make, if you haven't seen this show yet, what are you waiting on? This is a perfect noir story. It's gritty, it's dark, like Amazon says. It is got plenty of action. You do get to see Nicolas Cage or somebody in a suit go swinging through this older New York City. You get to find out what his motivation for stopping being the hero is. And then you get to see in the end of the second episode how far he's willing to go to get back into the game, to protect those that he still can protect and protect the ones that he loves. So, although a lot of Sonyverse Spider-Man things have not really hit perfectly, I'm looking at you, Craven. Spider-Noir, I really hope that at the end of this, I hope that they do a second season. Now, somebody said that I think it cost either 400,000 or 400 million. And I think 400 million for the entire show. And that's a lot of money. And, I was talking to my wife the other day, and if you pay for every one of these streaming services, then eventually you're going to be paying just as much as you would pay if you put the money down and just got cable. Now, she made the comment that, yeah, you wouldn't get to see some of these shows or, things like that. And I said, yeah, I agree. You would be missing out on some of these things like Spider-Noir. But you would have all of the different channels. You would have really 500 channels with nothing on. But when you have things like this, you get to see the nuanced stories. For a long while, AMC was really great at that. Hell on Wheels, Into the Badlands, The Walking Dead, those sort of stories, just like the comics that come out. A lot of times the indie books are so much more popular and so much more interesting than the Marvel and DC and superhero bang 'em up, shoot 'em up, blow 'em up type of books. But here you get to see gritty noir, almost like a detective story. You get Kat Hardy, who is, I'm assuming, eventually going to turn into the Black Cat. But right now she's a lounge singer. You get to see Silvermane, who was the kingpin of his time. You get to see all of these familiar faces like Flint Marko that is going to become the Sandman. You get to see Lonnie Lincoln, who of course is going to be Tombstone. And you're seeing this cast of characters that you're more than vaguely familiar with in a situation that is vaguely familiar. So check this show out. It's all been dropped on Amazon Prime right now. You can watch the whole thing. If I remember reading right, watch the first 3 episodes in black and white. That'll set the tone for the noir part of the story. Then watch episodes 4 and 5 in color. And then watch episode 6 in black and white. And then they said you can watch episodes 7 and 8 either in color or black and white, whichever you prefer. But the black and white is crisp. Even on this TCL TV that I have, this is the lower end TCL that I bought when we first moved into the house. It's 4K. It's a great TV. It's got an amazing picture on it. But what I have learned is that LED, no matter how good it is, will never match the black levels of an OLED. They just won't. An LCD TV, I mean. And it's just not going to match those deep blacks. But I will tell you that after watching 2.5 episodes of this show on this TV, this 55-inch TV that's in the bedroom, it's an excellent, excellent picture. So don't be worried about it being grainy or blurred out, or the black and whites not being crisp. They're perfect. They're absolutely amazing to see. And then episode 4, which I haven't seen yet, I'm going to watch it, and 5 in, I think they call it Accutone True Color. So can't wait to get on here and talk about what episodes 3, 4, and 5 look like. But I'll probably just talk about episode 3 a little bit more in, solidarity, because I've kind of glossed over in order to not spoil anything. The second episode is Ben trying to hunt down Flint Marko. Robbie Robertson runs into Lonnie Lincoln for the first time. So again, you have a lot of familiar yet unfamiliar in this era story beats to go through. Anyway, guys, I hope that this has sold you on the idea to watch Spider-Noir. It is absolutely just amazing. And if you like this character at all, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't watch this. So check it out, then come back, hit me in the comments, let me know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so that you get a lot more content, not just on Spider-Noir, but on the comic books that are coming out this week. And what else do I have for you? I think I've got a couple of surprises that are coming up. Of course, later in the week, we'll talk again about X-Men 97 as a new episode drops. So it's not that I'm moving away from comics to talk more about movies or TV, but it's just that we've got so much great stuff to watch. And it's a great time to be a comic book fan on these streaming services. So anyway, guys, like I said, thanks for joining me for this time, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care.